Welkom bij de Makelaarspodcast, de podcast waarin ik iedere week met een andere professional in de makelaardij spreek om hun ervaring, tips, trucs, tools en adviezen met jou te delen, zodat jij deze kan gebruiken voor je eigen ontwikkeling en we samen de makelaardij in Nederland naar een hoger niveau tillen. Namens Bouwman Makelaardij ben ik uw host, Jim Bouwman. Vandaag heb ik Hugo Dalrymple Smith te gast. Oorspronkelijk uit Engeland en jarenlang in de online mediasector gewerkt, verhuist Hugo samen met zijn vrouw in verband met haar nieuwe baan in 2012 naar Amsterdam. Hij besluit, terwijl hij thuis voor zijn kinderen zorgt, zijn eigen bedrijf te starten met een Britse compagnon. Our Endeavour, tegenwoordig Dutch Home Hunters, is geboren en richt zich op de groeiende expatmarkt in Nederland. Met zijn bedrijf zorgt hij ervoor dat expats zich vanaf dag 1 thuis voelen in Nederland en helpt hen niet alleen met het vinden en bemachtigen van huisvesting, maar ook met andere praktische zaken zoals registratie bij de gemeente en het openen van een bankrekening. Aangezien Hugo een Brit is, zal het interview in het Engels plaatsvinden. Maar ben je benieuwd hoe expats Nederland en de Nederlandse woningmarkt ervaren? Hoe je hen beter kan helpen? Veel voorkomende problemen waar expats mee kampen? Hoe makkelijk of moeilijk het is om expats van dienst te zijn? Hoe je als expat een bedrijf in Nederland kan starten? Dit en meer in deze aflevering met Hugo Dalrymple Smith. Hi Hugo.
Good afternoon.
As I start every podcast interview asking you the question, how did you, well in your case it's a bit special, but how did you get to the Netherlands and how did you start Dutch Home Hunters?
I have a bit of a roundabout way of getting to the Netherlands. I got a job here 12 years ago and my eldest son was born here. And then I came back, so I relocated here 12 years ago. Lived in Amsterdam for a year and a bit, moved back to the UK. Then my wife got a job here and then we relocated back out to Hilversum. And I followed her. I did a bit of consultancy work in digital marketing, but with two small kids, I couldn't do that full time. They got a bit older, I met another expat, and we basically agreed that our relocation services had been dreadful. I mean, and every expat we spoke to, their service hadn't been good, and the prime focus of them had been finding a house. The majority of people, when arriving here, the government systems are very efficient. So a lot of expat relocation focuses on getting all your, BSN number and all that, which is quite simple. But Holland has a slight problem with lack of housing, and the biggest problem people found was just finding a place to live, and that was based here in Hilversum. Then that's why Dutch Home Hunters came about. So we just started helping people find a home. We partnered with a local makelaar. We basically spoke to all the local agents and found that they were the most open to the idea. It was amazing how many makelaars we met who, we came to them and said, look, we want to run a service where we help expats find houses. And so many of them said, no, we do that. We don't need any help doing that. So yeah, Pat and Carl Dornbras were the only people who saw that there was a need. And from there it's grown. My original business partner, Alex, relocated back to the UK. And then I brought on board Vanessa, who's absolutely fantastic. And she is from South Africa. And from that, we rather sort of managed to relocate a huge amount of South Africans. So that's the sort of basic beginning point of Dutch Home Hunters.
Most agents or agencies in the Netherlands are probably not aware of what kind of struggles expats are facing and what kind of services your business would offer to expats. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I think the prime one is an individual makelaar just doesn't have the reach. I mean, you'll focus on the houses you have rather than every single property you can find. The other one is that our focus is finding a property when they land. So we'll do video tours and sort it all out. So when they land, we pick them up at the airport or they get a taxi and we let them in the house and they have a house to live in. Because most expats, especially ones with families, you can't arrive and spend 2 weeks in an apartment looking for a house, or there are very few companies which would put you up in a service apartment for 3 months. But even if you could, and companies offer that, if you've got 2 small children, you've got shipping crates, you don't want the situation where you arrive and then you're looking for an apartment, starting a new job, your wife's in a new country, your kids are in a new school, and then you're moving on around. What you want to do is arrive, into a house where you can start living. And that's the service we offer. And that's a service which wasn't offered anywhere else.
Do you focus on rentals or purchases?
Rentals. We never advise our clients to arrive, buy straight away. There's problems with, getting a mortgage and buying straight away. But B, you need to arrive. You need to live in a country to figure out where you want to live, how you want to live. And to do that, buying straight away is just too big a risk, I feel.
And in which markets in the Netherlands do you operate?
We mainly focus on the Gooi, Amsterdam, Utrecht, but to be honest, we do anywhere we can get clients in. It's a bit harder down to sort of Maastricht or Groningen because anything beyond an hour's drive for us, as we're based here in Hilversum, is just too far and it's a bit too difficult. So mainly Amsterdam, Almere, Hilversum, Utrecht, Haarlem. Those are our main areas.
Do you go and check the houses yourself before your clients arrive?
Yes. So what we do is we send our clients a list of properties, or ones we hear about coming online. We go there, we do a video tour, we get a feel for the area, we send our clients the video tour, and then we go through our clients with the video, answering any questions about the area, anything in there. And then if they like the property, we put an offer on their behalf, negotiate for them, check the contract, and take it from there.
How do you find all the listings for the apartments? Do you work with local agents and they provide you with a bunch of different options, or do you do the search and research yourself?
It's search and research online, to be honest. In Hilversum, we have a slight advantage because this is where we're based. So we do know the agencies a lot better. So we tend to know which properties are coming online before they come online. But the majority of it is just hard graft online.
Like talking with landlords directly?
No, it's Funda or Perez, that sort of thing. So it's just going on those two main websites, seeing what's come up, seeing what's new, and then taking it from there. Our experience online is really that those are the best ones. There are a large number of other property websites, but we've seen so many fraud cases on there that it's just not worth the effort.
Do you have some example of fraudulent cases?
I think it's Rentola. Recently, a client sent us a property saying, this looks amazing, I'd love to rent this. And it was listed as a 2-3 bedroom apartment in this gorgeous, massive old house for €900. It looks very suspicious. So we chased down the owner of the property who put in contact to their agent, and it was just a big house, which was actually just on sale for 4.5 million. And they had just taken the photos, put it online, hoping that someone would pay the deposit. So, and then you've got loads of the other ones where you have to pay a fee and we never had much luck with those. So Funda and Perez are the most sort of trusted and valuable.
And going back a little bit in time to when you started Dutch Home Hunters, how did you get your first client?
I integrated with the local school. The international school here in Hilversum, and we just integrated ourselves with the community. And from there, it's social media.
Is social media the main method you use right now to get new clients?
Yes, it's word of mouth through social media. Yeah, we don't advertise on social media. It's client. The majority of it is client referrals on social media. Yeah. You
don't want to advertise, or it's proven ineffective?
Ineffective. We tried it. The problem is your target is too big, too varied. You could do a bit of Facebook on, South Africans in the Netherlands and those sort of things. But we've just found that it's far more effective word of mouth, because in those companies, we have a high level of engagement in those communities. If we wanted to take it a level further, we're only 2 people and we've got enough work as it is. If we did want to take it further, it's targeted communities on Facebook would be the best. Google AdWords, we've tried, doesn't work.
Thank you for being so transparent, and congratulations that the business is going so well that you cannot handle more than what you're doing.
No,
you can handle more, but that it's going so well.
There's 2 of us, and we are trailing spouses. My wife's got a full-time job. Vanessa's husband has a full-time job, and to keep the level of service which we require for our business, we can't take, you just, there's only so much we can do. I mean, I can do, 5 viewings in a day, but that's a lot of driving around the area, viewing it, and then answering clients and doing everything. To take it to the next level is, something we might do in the future, but right now we can't.
Right. And expat is a very broad definition. It's a very broad category. Do you target specific subgroups within the expat community in the Netherlands?
No, we'll take anyone.
I see.
So, our budgets vary from, at the moment, I've got one client at, 1,200 looking in Amsterdam for a 1-bedroom apartment. And then I've got a client in Rotterdam who's got 3,000 looking at a 5-bedroom house. So, yeah, it's varied.
So also the nationalities that you're servicing are pretty much from all over the world?
And the main ones are South African, British, Indian, American, a number of Eastern Europeans. Those are the main ones, I would say.
Does that have to do with English language ability?
No, it's just that's where our client base has fallen. We just so happened that South Africans, we've got a good relationship with the community, the South Africans in the Netherlands, and due to the current conditions in South Africa and that the Netherlands is an easy place for South Africans to move to, we happen to have a large number of those clients. English, again, it's an easy one. The number of clients we have is because we're an all-English website. Of course, in search rankings and when people are searching, if you're an expat, we found a number of clients come to us just because it's pure English language. If you've got a pure Dutch site, it's always a little more intimidating to ring up, even though Dutch English language ability is great. I think there is a level of comfortability with talking to another expat that perhaps the Dutch don't have.
Do you have any advice or multiple pieces of advice for agents in the Netherlands trying to service expats?
I would say have an English language version on your website. Just have some English text on there. Have something like "We speak English," and make sure you can pick up a phone. I think the one we find a lot of clients get annoyed by is the websites and the agents who make expats jump through hoops. So a number of agents, we know before you can view a property, you have to fill out an application form. And of course, that application form is all focused for Dutch people. So you'll have, you need your BSN number on there, you'll need your last employer's, your last 4 bank statements, which none of the expats will have because you don't live here, which is an instant hurdle, which then, if you're trying to rent a property to them, they're just like, well, no, I don't have that. I'm confused by that. And a number of agents who will say, well, we won't even show you or talk to you until you've filled out this form. I mean, that's a huge barrier, which almost puts them off instantly. What
are some common expat struggles when they first come to the Netherlands that Dutch people are probably not aware of?
It's the basics. It's, trying to figure out how to, pay your bills, where your bins are. It's very easy living in the Netherlands. It's not a tricky country to live in, but a lot of expats trying to find a home, it's just, how do you do it if you're, like I said, how do you find a home if you're not here? And how do you find a home if you're here and you're renting and you're working full time, where you're in a sort of a hotel, especially with families? I think that's the hardest one. You just can't do it in that level.
Going back to Dutch home hunters, do you have any plans or ambitions for the future that you're trying to accomplish or strive for?
I think we're trying to grow as much as we can. The last year's been an odd one. We did 6 months with no clients at all, and then suddenly we had lots of clients. Expansions may be something on the horizon, but for now, I think our focus is in maintaining quality, because, like I said, word of mouth is our biggest thing. And without that, we're nothing. So it's at the moment to maintain quality. If we were to expand, we would like to replicate something like this, but in areas which we find hard to reach. Maastricht and The Hague would be the perfect areas.
Is there any way that agencies can help you out, particularly in those areas that are difficult to reach for you?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it would be nice to establish a relationship with an agency in there who we could trust to go and do video tours for us, and do searches and look after our clients. But therein lies the problem of maintaining quality. And I know that that's the thing. So if we were to, I think we would prefer to hire someone on a similar model to ours in those areas and work on a commission basis rather than rely on an agency. Because naturally agencies, a property search, you know, you've got your own properties. So it's almost better to have someone independent of an agency. Even though we are linked quite heavily with an agency, that's not us.
That's very clear, very understandable. You're in your 8th year, if I can trust LinkedIn well. You're in your 8th year with this business. During that time, there must have been quite a few ups and downs. What is the biggest lesson, or some of the bigger lessons that you've learned running your own company?
It's just keep at it, and it's quality of service, and that's the hardest thing to maintain. It's understanding that the clients, and we've made mistakes over time of saying no to clients or not being as responsive or not communicating enough, especially in terms of fees, that if you're not clear on, you know, fees and VAT and all that, sometimes they get a bit shocked that when the bill comes through. But it's just maintaining the flexibility when people arrive. So, you know, we always give a welcome basket. If they're arriving at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, you know, say, can I pick something up from Albert Heijn and stock your fridge? It's very simple, takes us 20 minutes, half an hour, but it makes a huge difference. If you're arriving with 2 kids, it's 8 o'clock, you're not really going to move to, you don't know how to order takeaway, you don't know, you know, and usually people travel on weekends. So it's just always being open and flexible. It's the hardest thing to do. And that's the quality we need to maintain.
Is there something out of the ordinary that you put in a welcome basket?
No, we put in Dutch treats, so hagelslag, chocolate milk, those sort of things, and local beers, and it's a nice thing that, you know, for Dutch people to have internationals, few local, yeah, exactly, stroopwafels, things like that.
Is there one of those that that's like the clear-cut winner that people like the most?
Well, it depends. Some people love English drop. Other people love the stroopwafels. It's up to them. I think hagelslag is the one that confuses them most. Okay. I mean, nowhere in the world do you sprinkle chocolate pieces on bread. It's strange.
Yeah, many of my foreign friends who have shown it to, they're also asking the first time, like, what exactly is that? There's some small black things that you put on there.
Yeah, that's the one.
I can assume that it quickly becomes a favorite with the children of the expats.
Well, it's just chocolate, isn't it? They'll take anything like that. Yeah.
What kind of advice would you have for people wanting to start their own company, so new entrepreneurs?
I've tried to start a number. It's talk to as many people as you possibly can. I think that's the thing. Don't think your idea is so great that you need to keep it a secret, and just get out there and talk to as many people as you possibly can. Friends, business people, people you've worked with in the past. They'll have great ideas, contacts. You know, you don't know. Just talk to as many people as you can. Yeah.
Is it something you experienced yourself? You make it sound like you kept it to yourself for quite a while.
No, I tried to start another business when I first arrived here, and I thought I was being very clever and did a business proposal and everything. I mean, fundamentally, that idea was rubbish, but I was very quiet. And then I did talk to some people, and that helped so much. And I think it's, yeah, just talk to as many people as you can, because that network you have is always so valuable. You never realize how important it is. So yeah, use that network.
is that something that you feel is even more important if you're a foreigner in another country?
I mean, in another country, you've got to build your own network. I mean, that's a hard thing, but you'd be surprised. I mean, that's even my network. I've worked with companies here in the past, and just a few people I knew helped me, push me in the right direction. And then, like I said, we started it, and our first few clients were through engaging with the local school community. Just going and talking to people, this is what we do, can we help? And it just grew from there.
If you would start your company today, rather than 8 years ago, would your first step be again to go to the international school and build a relationship there, or would you do something differently?
No, I think that was the perfect start. I mean, it's it was an instant community we could go to. And from there we can build. I don't see how else we could have started. I mean, you can push social media and all that, but you need social media, you need recommendations. And I think adverts on social media is okay, but what's far more important is, someone saying, I used these guys, they were great. And that goes without saying, that's the most important.
Testimonials always work quite well.
Yeah.
During these 8 years, was there something that you tried that failed miserably, or it could have turned into a great experience, but something that didn't pan out the way you thought it would?
Events, trying to do expat events failed miserably. We tried to do housing seminars, didn't really work. Looking to buy a house, have drinks, get expats round. It just didn't work because expats just they didn't want to do it in a group. If they're going to talk to a Makelaar, talk to us, they want to do it one-on-one. And trying to organize social events, it's not what our focus was. Focus was on finding houses, and that was just a total waste of time.
So it's more about, it was a mismatch between what the company said for what you were offering. And
and we tried to do it to engage more people, but the majority of people were here already, which isn't actually our customer base. Our customer base is in other countries, it's not here. And people are busy. This is it. I mean, a lot of expats we deal with families, and in the evening you don't want to go for a wine tasting with a bunch of people you don't know. You just got back from work, or the kids are busy, and people build their own networks and want to do it then.
Do you stay connected with the expats that you've helped, and are there clients that come back to ask you to help with the second part?
So what we tend to find is people rent for the first year or 2 years, and then they come to us and look to buy. And that's why our relationship with Dodd and Boss and Rash works so well, is because, of course, we're not qualified or have the experience or anything to buy and sell houses. And that's when we pass them on to another safe pair of hands to look after someone looking to buy the property and eventually sell it. Because that's the thing of the expats. It's the churn. They're always going to be looking to buy, because if you're here for 5 years, it makes financial sense. And then you sell at the end, yeah.
So if you're working together with Dalrymple and Rash, then I would assume it's mainly in the Hilversum, Utrecht, Amsterdam area as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Have you worked with clients that want to purchase an apartment in other parts of the Netherlands?
Yeah, and we've spoken, and then we sort of push them in. We've got a number of Makelaars who we've trusted and worked with in those areas, and we push them to those people.
Is there something that you would want me to ask you that you can share with others?
I mean, the one thing we do find is that sometimes expats find the Dutch level of service a bit confusing. I think that's coming from. So if you're an American, especially, I think the Americans find it quite hard, where you come from such a service-orientated community. You go for dinner and it goes, how do you like your dinner? And that level of service, which just isn't. Dutch people view everyone as equal, and that's fantastic. It's a very egalitarian society. And so Americans and some other nationalities find the idea that someone who's you've hired as you are their client, that the Dutch approach it as a very much we're equal and everything. And while an American would expect far more smiling, happy typical American level of service. And that's hard, considering also that Americans, Brits, and a lot of other people find that Makelaars don't open on a Saturday and a Sunday is almost an antithesis to them. It's a very bizarre concept because they always say to us, but when do you search for a house? If you can't look at a house on a Saturday, how is that even possible? So I think that's the biggest shock in terms of finding a house, that it's just, you don't have someone, being slightly more obsequious than they're used to, and just, you're not open Saturdays and Sundays. It's just bizarre to a lot of people.
I can understand everything you're saying about Dutch culture and how Dutch businesses operate. Regarding what you said about, in a sense, customizing the experience more, or really treating customer like a god or like a king.
No, it's not so much. It's not so much treating them like a king. It's just a I'm here to offer you a service, and the Dutch are great at that, but not in the same way that I think a lot of people are used to. The Dutch will come and go, I'm here, I'll help you, I'll do anything to help you. But, we're still on that level. And while the Americans especially are used to a different level of service.
I guess I'm trying to think right now. Smiling and everything, I think most Dutch people know that's how it operates in the States. What kind of things we can do even better to accommodate expats, especially people that come from those kind of cultures, even more? Do you have any tips or advice?
Work on a Saturday.
Okay.
Just that's it. Work on a Saturday. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to work on a Saturday, but if I have to, I will. I run my own business, but I think that's the one that they find a bit, yeah.
Essentially, working Tuesday to Saturday would probably be better.
Well, yeah, would be fine. I mean, it's how you want to run it. It's a lot easier for me and Vanessa because, we run our own business, and on a Saturday I can, my kids are older, I can just drop and view an apartment or meet a client or take a call or whatever. It's my own business. And that's a lot harder if you're not an owner of your business and, it's your Saturday and your boss asks you to take a call on Saturday. It's a different way of being.
Do you feel there's, or would you know if there's advice that's quite commonly given to expats or foreigners that's just plain wrong, or that's bad advice?
No, I mean, like I said, the majority of Makelaars are very good at what they do, and the advice they give, I think it's just understanding that people are arriving and they don't get it instantly. People have never lived here before. So South Africans, for example, they have no idea how to use a thermostat because it never gets cold enough. So we always, when we go into a house, is show them how to use the heating, because of course it's something that they're just not used to. While in Northern Europe, you just go, here's the house, there's the thermostat, because we all have them in Northern Europe. But you're coming from India, or you just don't understand that you've got to turn your heating on and how to use the heating. Like, don't leave the heating on all night, because then the house will get too hot because everyone's in bed under covers. I mean, it's simple things like that, that if you're from India or a hot country, you never think to turn the heating down at night or how to use heating, because we've all grown up with it. That's a silly example, but it's a clear one.
It's usually the silly examples that are the best ones.
Yeah, no, exactly. And also just, where to buy things and what shops to go to and things like that.
And before we wrap up, I have two final questions. Firstly, is there anybody you recommend that I would talk with? An expat who is related to the real estate industry in the Netherlands, or anybody who's doing something remotely related to real estate? Yeah, just somebody that you would recommend I would talk with.
I most probably is it who's helps us a lot. No, she's Dutch, and she helps us with helps a lot of expats with things like school searches, but that is far more relocation. It's not, the property side. I mean, there's not many of us who do. I think there are a few more people coming and doing what we're doing. I don't want to encourage people to do it because
I understand.
that's going to take our business. But I think, I would just carry on talking to, especially those makelaars in high expat areas. Pat and Carl are great. Interhouse, the guys at Interhouse are great. They do a lot of expat stuff and they're really growing. So yeah.
And the person you mentioned who was doing the relocation service, what was her name?
I'll send you her details. I've got it somewhere. Elisette, yeah.
All right, thank you. Then to wrap things up, how can people get in touch with you?
We're just DutchHomehunters.com. All our details are on the website. I think that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
It's got what we do and how we work. I think that's the easiest place to find us.
All right, I'll make sure that everything is in the show notes as well, so people can easily find it.
Okay.
Hugo, thank you for your time.
No problem at all. All the best.
Bedankt voor het luisteren naar deze aflevering van de Makelaarspodcast. Heb je ervan genoten? Laat dan alsjeblieft een positieve review achter op Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher of de podcast-app waarop jij dit beluistert. Hier doe je ons een enorme dienst mee en zijn we je erg dankbaar voor. En wil je op de hoogte blijven van deze podcast? Vergeet je dan niet te abonneren. Dat was het weer voor vandaag en tot volgende week.